Hello, and welcome to H&S Woodworking. I'm Nick, and today we're going to be building a downdraft sanding box that you can clamp to your work surface. It's going to be made out of 3/4 inch ADX plywood, 5/8 plywood, pegboard, and some foam rubber drawer mat for grip. We will start by ripping this down to 3-inch strips. Then we're going to take it over to the miter station, cut it to length, and then we're going to cut in a 3/16 dado all the way around to a 3/16 rabbet to fit the pegboard. Once that's complete, I'm going to cut in an 1 3/4 hole for the end of my vacuum so that when we're ready to use it, we just plug a vacuum in the end and it will pull all the sanding dust into the vacuum. So, with that being said, welcome and enjoy. One thing that's imperative when you're ripping down anything, especially plywood, because it's so splintery, you just barely want those teeth to be just above the surface. I like to go about a full tooth above the surface. Okay, now that I've got these ripped down to 3 inches wide, this is some scrap wood that I've had. So I'm going to go ahead and just square off one of the ends just to make sure it's square. Turn it around for the square. Now I got to set the measurement on my Craig stop track system to 19 1/8. And there we have it. We have our 4 sides with some scrap in case I make a mistake, which is very likely. So we're going to trim that off. That's it. Now we're going to cut it. Remember from our very first video, I gushed on this Craig stop track system. This is why. Makes your cuts so much faster and easier. No, this is not a paid sponsorship. Craig has no idea I'm doing this. I just love their stuff that much. So we're going to go ahead and get this cut now. Okay, now that that's done, we're ready to cut out the rabbets on the rails to take a piece of pegboard. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to use my table saw. I do have a dado blade set for this, but it's only 3/16 of an inch thick, the pegboard. So I'm just going to set up my table saw to cut out 3/16 and we'll just cut it out in one piece. Okay, now that I have my blade depth set, I'm going to use that same measurement and get my fence set. Okay, now I've had that initial cut set, I'm going to set it right here next to my blade where my highest tooth is, and I'm going to raise it up till it's just about to the height where I need. Okay, now I have my stop block set. I got my depth set to cut the rabbet in here. Now, we're just ready to get it cut. Okay, now I've got all my rabbets cut all the way around. So now it's time to go ahead and get the pocket holes cut. Okay, now that I have all my pocket holes cut, I need to cut in a 1 3/4 inch opening for my vacuum. Now, the size opening will vary depending on your hose, so be sure to measure the outer diameter before you begin your cut. Now, for something like this, I find that just a regular cheap hole saw will do the trick. Alright, so now I have my 1 3/4 inch hole for my vacuum hose. Now it's time to go ahead and get everything attached to the main board. Okay, so this kind of gives you an idea of what it's going to look like sitting on top. I'm going to go through and square up my box and get my pocket holes put down in there. And as you can see, there's a lip all the way around it of about 3/4 of an inch to give you some clamping areas so you can clamp it to your workspace, but it doesn't take up too much space otherwise. There's not a lot of wasted wood on here. So we'll go ahead, get one side clamped down. Now that we have one side attached and it's square, we can go ahead and put in the rest. And for this, I am going to be adding glue to the rabbets here and across here. Okay, now that we have our box made, now we need to focus our attention on the pegboard. Now the reason I chose pegboard, I think, is pretty obvious. With the perforations in it, the material that it's made out of, it's going to act as a good medium to help with the draw of the vacuum, plus give you something to set your material on. So I've already set my fence to the longest width, which is 18 3/8. So we're going to go ahead and cut that, and then I'll readjust my fence to 14 1/8, and we'll get that cut, and we should be just about finished. Okay, we have that cut down. Now we should be able to just slide it right in here. Alright, we've test fitted the pegboard. Fits in there pretty nice. It's a little snug in some of the areas. I might not have gotten it perfectly square, but for this, it's just a piece of shop furniture. So that's going to be fine. So we're going to go ahead, run a bead of glue around the outer edge. I'm going to set it back down in place I don't have a brad gun at my disposal at the moment, so I'm just going to use some nails and we're going to nail it down. Now that we have our pegboard down and attached, I'm just going to use this foam rubber drawer material. Believe it or not, this works great to keep your wood from sliding around as you're sanding it. It absorbs the vibration, plus it's got a high friction surface on it to help keep things from sliding around on you. So I'm going to be attaching it using this 3M high strength industrial contact adhesive. That glues anything to anything. So I'm going to go ahead and get this cut out right here so it's cut to size, and then we'll get a layer of that sprayed on there and get it glued down, and we'll be just about finished. And always remember, cut towards your buddy, not towards your body. Make sure your can's nice and shook up. And we just got to put a real thin layer on. This kind of sprays a pattern like so. It comes out kind of stringy, but it works really well. I've used this on a lot of different applications. Okay. It only needs a few seconds just to tack up, just to get it tacky. And once it does, then you're ready to lay on your covering. And that's it. You now have a fully functional downdraft sanding box. So we'll go ahead and stick a hose in the end here, get this clamped down, see how it works. And there you have it, a fully functioning downdraft sanding box. Now this will go a long way to helping you keep the dust down in your shop if you don't have access to a overhead air filtration system or a big dust collection system. I have neither at the moment. So I needed to come up with something to help mitigate the amount of dust I was getting from when we were sanding on some of our projects, because the dust would just get everywhere. You'd walk in the door and it would be a cloud of dust. This is going to go a long way to help mitigate that. I know you can't tell on screen, but there is actually a lot of airflow coming through this foam pad, and it's sucking the dust from the sander straight down in and over into my vacuum. So, and this is something that only took about an hour to make, and I made it out of just scrap wood here in the shop. So, that concludes our build for today. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments below. If you have any ideas or suggestions, that's what the comment box is for. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to smash that like button, click subscribe, and don't forget to ring that little bell icon so that you get notified every time we upload a new video. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.